từ từ.
Bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim, mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường, niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường. Qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền, hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng. Nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy, lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này. Cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Về bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim, mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường, niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường. Qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền, hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng. Nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy, lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này. Cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường. Niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường, qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền. Hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng, nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy. Lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này, cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống. Để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Về bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường. Niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường, qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền. Hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng, nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy. Lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này, cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống. Để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường. Niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường, qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền. Hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng, nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy. Lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này, cho ta lớn của từng ngày càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Về bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học Ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học Ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường, niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường. Qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền, hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng. Nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy, lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này. Cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống. Để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân, để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân.
Everyone, once again, please ensure you have a good internet connection. Guest speakers, trainers, partners, delegates, please turn your camera on, hit your microphone, change your virtual background, and rename yourself as a son. Should there be any technical problems, please let us know immediately, because it's just an understanding.
Bên nhau ta vui ca hát vang, cùng hân hoan ta xây bao ước mơ. Ngàn tiếng nói từ con tim mãi khát khao vươn mình ra thế giới. Từ nơi đây sẽ thấy những vì sao, từ nơi đây con sống ra đại dương. Đại học Ngoại ngữ bao năm dựng xây, chắp cánh cho bao thế hệ tương lai. Đại học Ngoại ngữ Đà Nẵng hôm nay bay lên bao ước mơ dặm đường, niềm tin đưa ta đi biết bao nẻo đường. Qua năm châu bốn phương mọi miền, hành trang trên vai bước chân vững vàng. Nghe vang lên trong tim ấm êm lời thầy, lời cô thân thương dưới mái trường này. Cho ta lớn khôn từng ngày, càng thêm tin yêu cuộc sống. Để tương lai mãi là mùa xuân. Về bên nhau ta vui ca hát.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome all of you to the opening ceremony of Model ASEAN Summit in Danang 2021. My name is Lưu Ngọc Bảo Trang. It's my great pleasure to be the master of ceremony. It is our privilege to have you with us today. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, had it not been for the unprecedented outbreak of COVID-19, we would be now gathered at the hall of the University of Foreign Language Studies at 131 Lương Nhữ Học Street in Danang, a beautiful coastal city in the central region of Vietnam. Much to our regret, we have to make changes to all planned schedules to ensure the safety and adapt to the new situation. However, whether it is an online or on-site event, we have been endeavoring to deliver the most effective summit via Zoom platform today. Now we are ready to begin. Before we start, please enjoy a stunning video about the University of Foreign Language Studies and the Faculty of International Studies, our organizing committee, and look back on the journey of Model ASEAN Summit during the past few years.
Established on the 23rd of August 2002 in pursuant to Decision Number 709 QDTTG issued by the Prime Minister, udn-ufls has been a fast-growing university with bright prospects towards sustainable development under the motto Solidarity, Integration, Development. Being a leading language institute with a mission of training, improving knowledge of human language and culture to serve national development as well as international integration, the university was appointed by the Ministry of Education and Training, the organizing committee of the National Foreign Language Project, to be one of the 5 major regional language centers for foreign language training, professional development for language teachers, technologies in language teaching and learning, language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teacher locally and nationally. Being a member of the University of Danang with 36 years tradition in education and research, udn-ufls has been an incubator for generations to pursue their dreams. Currently, the total number of university staff members is 324, including 8 professors, 34 doctoral degree holders, and 179 master degree holders. The majority of staff members hold a second master degree at many prestigious universities in the world. The university has been chosen by the government to be a key institution for implementing the missions assigned by the National Foreign Language Project and a center of excellence in foreign language training region-wide. The university has been assigned by the National Foreign Language Project to implement many important programs of its annual plan, including using technology in language teaching and learning, English for teaching, professional development for language teachers, innovative teaching for new English language curriculum, and language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teachers for many localities in the region and in the whole of Vietnam. The university lays a strong emphasis on training in alignment with societal demands, setting close linkages with localities and businesses. UFLS students receive constant support in terms of granted scholarships, internship, and soft skills and career-related trainings.
The University of Foreign Language Study, University of Danang, udn-ufls takes pride in being one of the very first higher education institution in the country granted certification of educational quality assurance. udn-ufls has also successfully undertaken the AUNQA assessment at the program level for 2 of its bachelor programs in the English language and international studies, and is now proceeding with its roadmap to undertaking the assessment and accreditation for all other training programs offered at the university.
A responsible university should turn its commitment and dedication into a motto which is all for quality of training. It should be a place where every single facet of achievement and success is recognized throughout the lens of this motto, all for the beloved students. A place where student support is always given the highest importance. UD-UFLS will always be by your side, lifting you on the wings of endless hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just watched a wonderful video about our university and the Faculty of International Studies, our organizing committee, and look back on the 15th journey of Model Asean Summit during the past few years. So now we are honored to introduce our special guest attending the opening ceremony today. From Danang University, Danang City, Ms. Ho Hai Ha, Deputy Director of Danang Department of Foreign Affairs.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to attend this very meaningful event in a very meaningful time. Thank you very much, and I will join. I hope that I will enjoy the atmosphere, exciting atmosphere of this event together with you. Thank you very much.
Thank Ms. Hồ Hoài Hà. And I would like to invite Ms. Nguyễn Thị Kim Tuyến, Vice Chairman of Danang Union of Friendship Organizations.
Very great. Today I'm very happy to, on behalf of the leader of the Union of Friendship Organization, to attend this Model Action Summit in Danang 2021 by the Foreign University of Foreign Languages of Danang University. I'm very honored to attend this summit, and so very appreciate to honor you. I hope the summit success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kim Tuyến. And from the University of Danang, I would like to introduce Mr. Lê Đình Quang Phúc, Secretary of the Youth Union of the University of Danang. From member universities of the University of Danang, I would like to introduce Dr. Nguyễn Minh Phu, Head of the Division of Vietnamese Studies, the Faculty of History, University of Education, the University of Danang. From University of Foreign Language Studies, Dr. Huỳnh Ngọc Mai Kha, Vice Rector of University of Foreign Language Studies, the University of Danang.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Model Action Summit in Danang 2021, hosted by the University of Foreign Language Studies.
Morning in progress. Thank you, Dr. Mai Kha. And I would like to introduce Dr. Đào Thị Thanh Phượng, Chairman of the University Council. Dr. Nguyễn Hữu Quý, Head of the Department of Personnel and Administrative Affairs. Dr. Nguyễn Hữu Bình, Head of the Department of Academic Affairs. Dr. Nguyễn Hữu Anh Vương, Acting Head of the Department of Research and International Cooperation.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Anh Vương. Thank you very much for joining with us today. And I would like to introduce Dr. Phạm Thị Tố Như, Head of the Department of Testing and Quality Assurance. Mr. Nguyễn Thái Trung, Head of the Department of Student Affairs.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Thái Trung. Thank you for joining us today. And I would like to introduce Ms. Nguyễn Thị Ngọc Linh, Head of the Department of Planning and Financial Affairs. I would like to introduce Ms. Nguyễn Thị Kim Yến, Head of the Department of Inspection and Legislation. Ms. Nguyễn Lưu Diệp Ánh, Vice Director of Center for Information Technology and Learning Resources. I would like to introduce Mr. Trần Văn Thành, Secretary of the Youth Union. And it's my honor to introduce Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi, Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Language Teacher Education.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for joining with us today. And I would like to introduce Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa, Vice Dean of the Faculty of English for Specific Purposes, former Dean of the Faculty of International Studies.
Good morning, everyone. Very delighted to see all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining with us, Ms. Quỳnh Hoa. And I would like to introduce Mr. Lê Văn Bá, Acting Vice Dean of the Faculty of English for Specific Purposes. And from the Faculty of International Studies, I would like to introduce Ms. Lê Thị Phương Loan, Acting Vice Dean of the Faculty of International Studies.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Model ASEAN Summit 2021 with us, and thank you for spending the whole weekend with us this year. Warmly welcome.
Welcome, Ms. Phương Loan. And I would like to introduce Ms. Nguyễn Võ Huyền Dung, Vice Dean of the Faculty of International Studies. Ms. Trần Thị Ngọc Hoa, Vice Dean of the Faculty of International Studies.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Ms. Ngọc Hoa. And I also would like to introduce other lecturers from Faculty of International Studies. Joining the opening ceremony today, I'm also pleased to introduce Ms. Trần Thị Diệu Anh, Visiting Lecturer of the Faculty of International Studies from KSH Consultancy and Investment Company Limited.
Morning, everybody. I would like all of you to have a remarkable experience with Summit. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you and welcome, Ms. Diệu Anh. And I would like to introduce Mr. Văn Công Nghĩa, Visiting Lecturer of the Faculty of International Studies from VTV8 in Danang. And I would like to introduce Dr. Phạm Quang Tín, Visiting Lecturer of the Faculty of International Studies. Now it's my honor to introduce our honorable guest speakers today. Ambassador Dr. Tôn Xuân Thành, former Vietnamese ambassador to India, Nepal, and Bhutan, high-ranked lecturer at the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. Dr. Mahima Singh, online academic counselor, professional English trainer. And Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi, Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Language Teacher Education. And finally, let us introduce our distinguished guests, delegates, and audience today. Ladies and gentlemen, may we request you to please salute the flag of ASEAN and rise for the ASEAN anthem, the ASEAN Way.
Raise our flag high, sky high, and breasted pride in our heart. Asean, we are born as one. Look in our word to the world. For peace now go from the very start, and for prosperity to last. We dare to dream, we dare to check together for Asean. We dare to dream, we dare to check for the way of Asean.
Woohoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, to begin the program, we are honored to invite Dr. Huỳnh Ngọc Mai Kha, Vice Rector of University of Foreign Language Studies, to deliver opening remarks. Welcome, Dr. Mai Kha.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of University of Foreign Language Studies, the University of Danang, I would like to express my sincere thanks and a very warm welcome to you all to the opening ceremony of Model Asian Summit in Danang 2021. As one of the 7 member universities and colleges of University of Danang, UFLS is a center for doing research in language and foreign culture, serving socio-economic development of the Central and Highland regions, as well as the whole country. With the establishment of faculties of international studies in 2006, UFLS offers courses in international studies and Oriental studies with a focus on Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia studies. Especially, the undergraduate program in international studies received the AUNQA, Asian University Network Quality Assurance Accreditation in 2019. Asians has played an important role in Asia Pacific with its significant geopolitical positions and rapid economic growth and stability since the beginning of the 21st century. With the global partnership from West to East, Asian member states are working together to voice their opinions via summit meeting and international cooperation mechanisms which effectively promote shared prosperity, development, sustainability, and address regional issues and disputes, as well as contributing to making the futures of Southeast Asian countries incredibly brighter. Being inspired by the Asian missions, we are honored to host the Model Asian Summit in Danang for this year of 2021, a simulation of an Asian Summit meeting in which 51 official talented participants from cities and provinces in Vietnam could be engaged in a simulated decision-making process under the Asian framework. The theme of our conference this year is COVID-19 crisis response in Asian member states. In this sense, we reaffirm our strong commitment to strengthen collective efforts in enhancing Asians' resilience to navigate and effectively respond to emerging challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic, to minimize its disruption and promote sustainable recovery, thereby protect the life and well-being of our citizens and sustains Asia's inclusive growth. Thus, these simulations are held in the hope of equipping youngsters with the best baggage to catch up with the current situation within Asians. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me welcome distinguished guest speakers and moderator Ms. Lê Thị Phương Loan, Acting Dean of International Relations Faculties, and all of our guests and students presenting here. Before declaring the opening ceremony, on behalf of UFLS, I would like to express our sincere thanks to guests, delegates, and volunteers who have spent time for joining us this year, especially our distinguished guest speaker, Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thành, former Vietnamese ambassador to India, lecturers at the Diplomatic Academies of Vietnam, Dr. Mahima Sis, online academic counselor.
Recording stopped.
Yao Chi, deans of the faculties of foreign languages.
Recording in progress.
I believe with your presence and contribution, the event will bring significant interest for a better understanding of Asean. I wish the event a great success and all guests and participants the most rewarding and enjoyable time in our March 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Huỳnh Ngọc Mai Kha, for your wonderful remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please mute your microphone, turn your camera on, and change the virtual background. Thank you. Should there be any technical problems, please let us know immediately. Now, we are coming to the main session of the summit this morning. First of all, may I invite all of you to turn your camera on for a group photo, please. Everyone, please turn your camera on so that the technical team can take a screenshots of all participants today. Shots of all participants today. Yes, excellent. Please hang on in there. Keep smiling. Our technical team are taking the photo. Thank you. Right. Thank you very much. Now, please welcome all the heads of governments for their opening speeches. First of all, we would like to invite the head of the government of Brunei Darussalam.
Thank you so much. Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN, ASEAN senior officials and heads of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Bruneian government and people, I would like to extend a warm greeting to the ASEAN delegates that attend the Model ASEAN Summit 2021. It is our honor to host ASEAN Summit this year and to be here with you today. Since last year, our economy and society confronted numerous dangers because of the serious spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. This reminds us that we should keep on expanding collaboration and development to reinforce our solidarity during challenging times. Moreover, ASEAN member states must maintain the fundamental values in the ASEAN identity in order to continue to deliver a more brilliant, more serene, and prosperous future in Southeast Asia. Excellencies, although the spread of COVID-19 pandemic has been controlled step by step in Southeast Asian countries, the post-pandemic recuperation process in the region is still facing numerous deficiencies. Along with the change in the leading position of the powers outside the area, Brunei and ASEAN are trying their best to maintain appropriate foreign policies. We also have to deal with cultural aggression, political crisis, cybercrimes, and transnational crimes, drug trafficking, basic liberties, and circular economy application in the face of environmental pollution, especially plastic pollution and garbage in the ocean caused by linear economics. The Brunei Darussalam firmly believes that these are the shared challenges that we need to address in this year's ASEAN Summit. Following the theme of this summit, COVID-19 crisis response in the ASEAN member states. The Brunei Darussalam wishes to tighten not only the partnership but also the mutual friendship between ASEAN member states in many aspects such as economy, society, environment, internal and external issues, reciprocal and multilateral cooperation, and cybersecurity through sharing and learning experiences in dealing with current flow of difficulties brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. As we enter a new phase of human history, we must set all the stage well, so future generations can come into the next era with confidence and optimism. We will all have the opportunity to work together to tackle regional challenges while realizing our vision of a bright future in ASEAN. I believe we must seize this rare opportunity to build a more prepared, dynamic, and sustainable regional community that can enhance our people's lives. I look forward to cooperating with all ASEAN member states to understand our vision of a superior and more promising time to come that we dare to dream for ASEAN. Thank you for the full presence at today's summit of all the senior officials and heads of government of all ASEAN member states, as well as distinguished guests. Thank you for your kind attention.
Head of the government of Brunei, thank you very much for your speech. And now we would like to invite the head of the royal government of Cambodia.
Your Excellency, Secretary General of ASEAN, ASEAN senior officials, heads of government, and distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and honor to be welcomed to this ASEAN Summit 2021 on behalf of Cambodia's members and government and people. This year celebrates the ASEAN 54th anniversary of its establishment. There have been 10 member states since the founding on the 8th of August 1967 and up until now. After the 5 founding fathers of ASEAN, namely Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, signed the ASEAN Declaration, 5 more states, Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia also joined. The ASEAN Declaration addressed the organization's goals and objectives in terms of regional economic growth, peace and stability, and cultural development. And today, with the charismatic leadership of Brunei, we gather here to safeguard those aims and purposes. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 22 years since the Kingdom of Cambodia joined the ASEAN. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, human lives are now facing a lot of obstacles and challenges in ASEAN generally and in Cambodia specifically. Following the path of cooperation and integration among each member country, ASEAN's countries have to together solve a great number of common problems nowadays. One of the most important issues is job loss because of the impact of coronavirus. However, this has been partly tackled by the invention of vaccines. Furthermore, what matters here after the creation against the disease is the lack of the COVID-19 vaccine supply. More and more people are suffering physically and mentally from the coronavirus every day, which means we need more demand of vaccine doses for prevention and minimizing the positive cases of this disease. And in the meantime, we have to recover our economy after each time the government imposed a nationwide lockdown to contain the spread of the virus and figure out the way to adapt to all the changes in trading, education, and employment. Through this year's summit with the theme COVID-19 crisis response in the ASEAN member states, I hope all the delegates will reach a lot of agreements to the most of the problems and work in the harmony and friendship. At last, we will fulfill all the purposes which we have set up from the get-go. It's my country's pleasure to work with all senior officials and heads of governments of all ASEAN members and to have you, distinguished guests, to be here today. I would like to close by thanking our host, the distinguished chairman, for the warm reception of Brunei Darussalam at this very significant and historic meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful remark. And now please welcome on the stage the head of the government of the Republic of Indonesia.
Good. Excellencies, Secretary General of Asian senior official and heads of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Indonesia, I am very honored to be welcomed to this Asian Summit 2021. This year remarked the 54th anniversary of the Asian establishment. The Asian were founded in Bangkok, Thailand in 1967 with the signing of the Bangkok Declaration that addressed the aim and purpose of the Asian in the vision of regional economic growth, peace and stability, and cultural development. And today, we proudly gather here with the friendly chairmanship of Brunei to protect those aims and purpose. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, located in the interconnected link between the Indian and Pacific Ocean, Indonesia and ASEAN have been gradually overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there are still many challenges that we are facing. Indonesia and ASEAN are making great effort to combat and fight against COVID-19, facing nearly record strain. At the same time, promote cooperation between member countries to overcome the pandemic. Those are some of challenges that the Republic of Indonesia especially believe need to address in this Asian Summit. Following the theme of this summit, COVID-19 response in the Asian member state, the Republic of Indonesia would advise to strengthen the partnership between Asian members in the various aspects, as well as between partners outside ASEAN to face the pandemic together. We look forward to a united and family ASEAN in which members work together to enhance the ability to prevent, cope with and live with this COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, we also need to cooperate to develop and enhance Asian position in the Indo-Pacific region. The President of Indonesia would like to thank Brunei Darussalam for this friendly chairmanship and a great opportunity for all of us to come together to address regional challenge for the certain peace, stability, and prosperity of the ASEAN. Thank you all of the senior official and heads of government of all Asian members for coming here today with a mutual vision and mission of the association. Finally, thank you, the distinguished guests, for your attendance, which we truly treasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Head of Government of Indonesia, for your wonderful speech. And now we are honored to invite the government of the Lao People's Democratic Republic.
Your Majesty, Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN, ASEAN seniors, officials and heads of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my great honor to be representative of government and people of Laos to participate in ASEAN Summit 2021. ASEAN is an association formally founded in Bangkok, Thailand in 1967 with common missions which are to accelerate the growth of economies, stabilize the societies, and cultivate the cultural diversity among 10 members within Southeast Asian region. The 54th anniversary of ASEAN establishment in these years is a remarkable milestone, since together we gather at this moment to address the relevant issues related even further to COVID-19 pandemic under friendly chairmanship of Brunei. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, despite severe pandemics all around the globe, it is proud to say that Lao People's Democratic Republic has effectively controlled the spread of COVID-19 virus and has well maintained its economic growth. Nevertheless, there are still many challenges that we are constantly facing, and they bring about negative impacts on not only on our economic stability, but also quality of life. First of all, rapid decrease of GDP contributions has a strong link with tourism and government industry, as they significant fields which provide millions of jobs annually. At this moment, unemployment is alert. Since March 2020, COVID-19 has paralyzed tourism as Lao PTR closed the borders, suspended commercial aviation, restricted domestic travel, and physical distance. Besides, government industry temporarily shut down, causing levels of non-payment and delay in salary. Moreover, a sharp drop in tourism and government demand is leading to job losses in tourism-related sectors. Regarding to community, the entertainment sector is suspended, which has degraded the performance of athletes. This especially has an enormous impact on young generation. Training activities of teams and youth teams faced many difficulties and affected the psychology and professional achievements of athletes, affect performance of athletes as well. The last problem that we want to bring out in this is the education sector. In recent times, when global COVID-19 epidemic has affected all areas of life, education and training is no exception. In Lao PDR, many educational institutions and schools have applied online teaching during the COVID-19 epidemic, but the online method still facing many challenges. E-learning is evaluated to be less productive than the traditional education, face-to-face class. Following the theme of this year's summit, COVID-19 crisis response in Asia's member states, the Lao People's Democratic Republic would crave for urging some other challenges that we have been encountering during COVID-19 and offering the relevant solutions that are able to ease the situation. Common challenges would also be figured out so that all member states could join hands discussing and withdrawing a conclusion, which is always looking forward to one essential mission. Common interest in economic development, political stability, and cultural diversity. The country also longs for mutual sympathy to be boosted during the harsh time. Every nation is ready to support others and willing to receive support whenever needed in any dimensions of challenges. The President of Laos would like to thank Brunei Darussalam for your chairmanship in creating a friendly atmosphere where senior officials of all Asian members are able to address the regional challenges. Thank the heads of government of respective nations for your presence, since this proves the hearted dedication for Asians' vision of stability, wealth, and peace. Finally, I want to give thanks to our distinguished guest for your attendance today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your opening speech. Next, we would like to invite the head of the government of Malaysia.
First and foremost, a warmest regard to our distinguished guests and delegates, Honorable Chair. We wish our delegation wish that everyone have a great day today. First and foremost, we would like to, this delegate personally would like to thank Ms. G, our sponsor, for providing this particularly great thing about COVID, as we shall heading into it. So, Your Majesty, Excellency Leader of Asean, Secretary General of Asean, Asian Senior Official and Head of Government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government of people of Malaysia, I am very honored to be welcomed here in Asian Summit 2021. This year marks the 54th anniversary of the Asian establishment. Each and every year since 1967, we gather here through our three pillars to discuss about our regional economic growth, peace and stability, together with cultural development. And today, we proudly gather here with the friendly chairmanship of Brunei, Jerusalem, to protect those aim and purpose. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia and the Asian community are on the path of development with many promising opportunities in various fields in the international arena. However, also face any challenge at the moment, especially the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, as we all know. Is he a warning bell about our problem that may threaten our community in the future? It cannot be denied that Malaysia and the Asian family are facing a rather dire situation of the COVID-19 pandemic and post-pandemic recovery consequences, which we're going to talk a lot about today in the AEC, I believe. We also need to find answers to a ton of questions about the economic recovery, multilateral relations, flexibility solution, regard of education. Moreover, it's necessary to directly raise awareness of the security between countries in the region, the issue of maritime boundaries, Danang and China, certainly in general, win-win. Finally, an urgent and crucial thing is climate change adaptation. Those are some challenges that Malaysia strongly believes that we should resolve in this Asian summit. Following the theme of this summit, we care, we prepare, we progress. Malaysia wishes to strengthen the tighten the partnership of countries in the region, exchange together, create more conditions for learning and sharing experience on recovery and flexibility in many areas such as economy, education, society, and security during the academic period. We need more plan and specific goal in order to come up with a solution on climate change adaptation. And all of the best for our wish of an advancing and sustainable Asia in the future. Thank you very much. I would like to give our time back to the chair.
Thank you very much for your wonderful remark. And next, we would like to introduce the head of the government of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar.
Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN senior officials and head of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, I'm very honored to be welcomed to this ASEAN Summit 2021. This year marks the 54th anniversary of the ASEAN establishment. The ASEAN was formed on August 8, 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand, with the signing of ASEAN declarations by the Group 5 original member states. Since the year 1967, memberships have been expanded and together address the aim and purpose of the ASEAN in the regions of regional economic growth, peace, stability, and cultural development, with the ASEAN community officially came in force at the end of the year 2015. And today, we finally gather here with the friendly chairmanship of Brunei Darussalam at the 50th ASEAN Summit to continue to protect the aims and purpose. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the late December 2019, a non-traditional secretary challenges the global pandemic of COVID-19 were ignited and expanded on a global scale. After nearly 2 years since the beginning of this new threat to the region, the situation is still in emergency, with the COVID-19 death rate have been skyrocketing in ASEAN countries since this year, July 2021. Luckily, despite the dreadful data, we ASEANs have fully prepared for the worst situation. At the 57th ASEAN Summit on November 12, 2020, ASEAN Coordinating Council's Working Group on Public Health Emergencies, COVID-19 ASEAN Response Plans, ASEAN Regional Reserve of Medical Supply for Public Health Emergencies, ASEAN Strategic Framework for Public Health Emergencies, ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework and its implementation plans, ASEAN Center for Public Health Emergencies and Emergent Disease has established. However, there are still an enormous number of challenges that we currently facing. Myanmar and many ASEAN member states have to close borders, travel bans, and halted immigrations and lockdowns to prevent the spreading of the pandemic. Besides that, countries in the region hardly to deal with the urgent issues related to the pandemic health and economic effect in, during, and after the pandemic, while having to consider problems in transnational crime as well as in the rates of criminal activity across the border of ASEAN member states. Those are some of challenges that Myanmar strongly believes we should address in this year's ASEAN Summit, especially when countries in the region have started the periods of new normal. Following the theme of this summit, COVID-19 response in ASEAN member states, the Republic of the Union of Myanmar would appear to strengthen partnership among the ASEAN member states in numerous dimensions of challenges in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, such as regional security and cooperation, partnership in transforming education, economic recovery and growth with global value chain transformations, people-to-people connectivity, and also among extensional partners to recover positive from the pandemic and reinforce our ASEAN centrality in the Indo-Pacific region. The country will look forward to success in the cooperations with other ASEAN members to safeguard the livelihoods of country people, to overcome our shared challenges and improve the lives of people in the regions and beyond. The Prime Minister of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar would like to thank to Brunei Darussalam for this friendly chairmanship and a great opportunity for all of us to come together to address regional challenges in the COVID-19 context for the sustainable peace, stability, and prosperities of the ASEAN. Thank you, all the senior officials and head of government of all ASEAN members, for coming here today for a mutual visions and missions of the associations. Finally, also thank you, distinguished guests, for your attendance with good treasures. Thank you.
Thank you, Head of Government of Myanmar, for your wonderful speech. And now, I would like to invite the Head of the Government of the Republic of the Philippines.
Good morning, everyone. Your Majesty, Excellencies, Secretary General of Asian senior officials and heads of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This year is noteworthy because it is the second year we are dealing with COVID-19, and we have seen excellent developments of the economy of Asian countries. As an Asian member, the Philippines is overjoyed. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Asean is an intergovernmental organization where decisions are based on consensus of all member countries. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, was established on August 8, 1967 with 5 original members and has gradually developed into a comprehensive and close cooperation organization with 10 Southeast Asian countries. The 54-year history of Asian existence and development has proved that a unity closely linked Asian that attaches national and regional interests could strengthen its central role. The strong, prosperous, people-centered Asian community contributes to ensuring a long-term interest of member states and people in the region. There are some of the issues that the Republic of the Philippines believes should be addressed at the Asian Summit. Despite the tremendous challenges that it faced throughout the course of its 15 years existence, ASEAN has achieved a great deal. ASEAN is battling to contain the spread of COVID-19 in the face of a comeback spurred by the Delta variant. At the same time, ASEAN is dealing with a trust issue as a result of a tangible nature of region cooperation as well as capacity concerns as a result of likely standoff over standpoint of a national involved to deal with Myanmar political crisis. Following the theme of the summit, COVID-19 crisis response in Asian member states, the Republic of Philippines would aspire to be an overall Asian approach, promoting multilateral cooperation within a rules-based regime architecture, responding to emergencies and disaster, and take care of mental people health. In external relations, ASEAN will continue to make efforts to develop and deepen relations with partners along with appropriate expansion of relations between partners. ASEAN needs to maintain and enhance its central role, especially in the process of building an open, transparent, exclusive, and rules-based region architecture based on frameworks and processes established by ASEAN leading, including the ASEAN Plus 1 and ASEAN Plus 3 processes. The President of the Philippines would like to congratulate Rene Dasralla with his friendly championship, which provides an excellent chance of all us to work together to address religion problems for ASEAN's long-term peace, stability, and development. Thank you to all the senior officials, ministers, and head of government of all Asian countries coming here today to share the association visions and objectives. Finally, we would like to spread our gratitude to you, distinguished guests, for your presence, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Head of Government of Philippines, for your opening remark. Next, we are honored to invite the Head of the Government of the Republic of Singapore.
Honorable Chairs, distinguished delegates. Permit me to sincerely welcome all the representatives of 10 Asian members to the opening ceremony of Asian Summit 2021. This year, due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, our ceremony are solemnly held online via digital and social media platforms. We, Singapore, will show the earnest thanks toward Brunei Darussalam for organizing the Asian 2021 Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 80 years since World War II, we the Horizon has observed the honorable peace and incredible development progress in various fields. We now are facing other risks losing this valuable situation due to the COVID-19, not only in our state, Singapore, but also in all over the region. The significant slump in GDP, innumerable number of deaths, the percentage of being homeless and unemployed is at the highest peak ever. A variety of areas is suffering from poverty. At this rough age, the multinational collaboration and connectivity are the most fundamental principles that we have to immediately and sustainably preserve. Through the rough period which COVID-19 has engendered to Singapore, we are step by step managing considerably. Singapore wishes to tighten the partnership between countries, especially in this reality to obtain improvements in various aspects from economic stagnation, such as reopening the internal commercial activities, which would diminish the mitigation of unfavorable drawback caused by the pandemic. It is Singapore's consistent policies to engage in diversification and multilateral relation of this external relation, to be a reliable and fast and partner, and an active responsibility member of the international community, striving for peace, cooperation, and development. Doing it better policy line, Singapore has gone from strength to strength over the past 75 years. Such spirit saw further beguiling compass foreign policies. Almost for us, the global landscape is evolving such complex and unpredictable manner. Singapore Asian memberships over the past 25 years have served as the milestone for its international integration and conducting our foreign affairs. As the 2021 delegates, Singapore has the same purpose as other nation members, is to create a cohesive and responsive Asian. We always value the solidarity, support, and assistance of fellow member states, partner and friends of Asian. This, by itself, reflects the spirit of Asian community in seeking to charm over adversities, maintain the momentum of integration, grow strong and reinforce Asian culturality for its Southeast Asian peers, friendship, cooperation, neutrality, and stability. We, the Republic of Singapore, are wholeheartedly embracing the solidarity and collective stand of Asian community. May the Asian Summit of 2021 are related and symbols are be crowned with success and build Asian to greater height are aspired by our citizens. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much for your magnificent opening speech. And next, we are honored to invite on the stage the head of Royal Thai Government.
Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN, ASEAN senior officials and heads of governments, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Thailand, I'm very honored to be welcomed to this ASEAN Summit 2021. I'm delighted to gather with you at ASEAN Summit 2021, and I look forward to an in-depth exchange of views and greater consensus building on the vision of regional economic growth, peace and stability, and cultural development. Today, we are proudly gathered here. Let me thank the Brunei Darussalam government for the careful preparation made for the summit. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, located in the interconnected links between Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, Thailand and the ASEAN region are witnessing their transformation following the global process of changes and the excessive opportunities of regional and global cooperation. However, there are still an enormous number of challenges that we are currently facing.
Sorry for the technical issue. Please continue, head of the Royal Thai government.
Sorry, I just have to be. Sorry?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly.
So at the started, I had been mute.
Oh, we are so sorry for the technical issues. So now please continue your opening speech.
Located in the interconnected links between the Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, Thailand and ASEAN region are witnessing their transformation following the global process of changes and excessive opportunities of regional and global cooperation. However, there are still an enormous number of challenges that we are currently facing. Thailand and ASEAN are making a great effort to address the COVID-19 pandemic and its negative effect on multi-dimension of ASEAN citizens in general and Thai people in particular. First, the conundrums of how ASEAN countries can economically adapt to chaotic circumstances internationally and regionally should be discussed. Besides, educational gaps and constraints in learning due to the pandemic are drawing great attention. Furthermore, transnational and national crime are rising during the pandemic. There are some of the challenges that the Kingdom of Thailand strongly believes that we should address in this ASEAN summit. Following the theme of this summit, COVID-19 crisis response in ASEAN member states, the Kingdom of Thailand would aspire to work together to come up with responsive solutions which resolve problems and crises due to COVID-19 pandemic. We would emphasize the need for ASEAN to work collaboratively across the region in order to figure out timely responses for all ASEAN member states in general and Thailand in particular in the realm of economy, politic, and education. As a result, the ASEAN citizens will be able to adapt and responsive in current and future situations. The Prime Minister would like to thank Brunei Darussalam for this friendly championship as a great opportunity for all of us to come together to address regional challenges for the sustainable peace, stability, and prosperity of the ASEAN. Thank you all of the senior officials and heads of government of all ASEAN members for coming here today with a mutual vision and mission of the association. Finally, thank you distinguished guests for your attendance, which we truly treasure. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for your marvelous speech. And we apologize for the technical problems. And so now I would like to welcome on the stage the head of government of Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
Excellencies, Secretary General of ASEAN, ASEAN senior official and heads of government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Vietnamese government and people, I would like to extend a warm greeting to the ASEAN member states that attend the ASEAN Summit 2021. It is an honor to be here with you today. With more than 50 years of operation and development, ASEAN have achieved many essential milestones in economic development and accelerated regional integration. But along with that success, we also have to go through many difficult challenges. Last years, our economy and society faced many threats due to the severe spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, The impact of climate change has also extremely affected the normal lives of people in ASEAN member states. This reminds us that we must continue to increase cooperation and innovation to strengthen our solidarity during challenging times. Moreover, ASEAN member states must maintain the fundamental values in the ASEAN identity in order to continue to deliver a brighter, more peaceful, and prosperous future in Southeast Asia. That is also our main goal as the convergence under the thoughtful chairmanship of Brunei. Excellencies, although the spread of COVID-19 pandemic has gradually been controlled in Southeast Asia countries, this post-pandemic recovery process in the region is still facing many shortcomings. Furthermore, many member states, including Vietnam, still have low vaccination rates. Along with the change in the leading position of the powers outside the region, Vietnam and ASEAN are trying our best to maintain appropriate foreign policies. We also have to deal with cultural aggression, political crisis, cyber crimes, and transnational crimes, drug trafficking, human rights, and circular economy application in the face of environmental pollution, especially plastic pollution and garbage in the ocean caused by linear economics. The Socialist Republic of Vietnam firmly believes that these are the shared challenges that we need to address in this year's ASEAN Summit. Following the theme of this summit, COVID-19 crisis response in the ASEAN member state, the Socialist Republic of Vietnam wished to tighten not only the partnership but also the mutual friendship between ASEAN member states in many aspects such as economy, society, environment, internal and external affairs, bilateral and multilateral cooperation, and cybersecurity through sharing and learning experiences in dealing with current challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Vietnam also looks forward to the Vichaya Declaration, ASEAN, a digitally connected community in which members will jointly make efforts to cooperate in digital development toward the goal of implementing the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025 and develop countermeasures to cross-border threats, promote growth recovery, strengthen connectivity, and enhance ASEAN position in the future. As the Prime Minister of Vietnam, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Brunei Darussalam for this extremely thoughtful chairmanship. We will all have the opportunity to work together to tackle regional challenges while realizing our vision of a bright future in ASEAN. Thank you for your full presence at today's summit of all the senior officials and heads of government of all ASEAN member states, as well as distinguished guests. I look forward to the upcoming meetings. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Head of Government of Vietnam, and thank you for all heads of governments for your wonderful opening remarks. Please give them a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, so now please take a break for a few minutes before coming to the webinar of the Model ASEAN Summit 2021. Thank you.
Woo, looking forward for it.
Established on the 23rd of August 2002 in pursuant to Decision Number 709 QD-TTG issued by the Prime Minister, udn-ufls has been a fast-growing university with bright prospects towards sustainable development under the motto Solidarity, Integration, Development. Being a leading language institute with a mission of training, improving knowledge of human language and culture to serve national development as well as international integration. The university was appointed by the Ministry of Education and Training, the organizing committee of the National Foreign Language Project, to be one of the 5 major regional language centers for foreign language training, professional development for language teachers, technologies in language teaching and learning, language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teachers locally and nationally. Being a member of the University of Danang with 36 years tradition in education and research, udn-ufls has been an incubator for generations to pursue their dreams. Currently, the total number of university staff members is 324, including 8 professors, 34 doctoral degree holders, and 179 master degree holders. The majority of staff members hold a second master degree at many prestigious universities in the world. The university has been chosen by the government to be a key institution for implementing the missions assigned by the National Foreign Language Project and a center of excellence in foreign language training region-wide. The university has been assigned by the National Foreign Language Project to implement many important programs of its annual plan, including using technology in language teaching and learning, English for teaching, professional development for language teachers, innovative teaching for new English language curriculum, and language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teachers for many localities in the region and in the whole of Vietnam. The university lays a strong emphasis on training in alignment with societal demands, setting close linkages with localities and businesses. UFLS students receive constant support in terms of granted scholarships, internship, and soft skills and career-related trainings.
The University of Foreign Language Study, University of Danang, UD-UFLS takes pride in being one of the very first higher education institution in the country granted certification of educational quality assurance. UD-UFLS has also successfully undertaken the AUNQA assessment at the program level for 2 of its bachelor programs in the English language and international studies, and is now proceeding with its roadmap to undertaking the assessment and accreditation for all other training programs offered at the university.
A responsible university should turn its commitment and dedication into a motto which is all for quality of training. It should be a place where every single facet of achievement and success is recognized throughout the lens of this motto, all for the beloved students. A place where student support is always given the highest importance. UD-UFLS will always be by your side, lifting you on the wings of endless hope. Established on the 23rd of August 2002 in pursuant to Decision Number 709 QD-TTG issued by the Prime Minister, udn-ufls has been a fast-growing university with bright prospects towards sustainable development under the motto Solidarity, Integration, Development. Being a leading language institute with a mission of training, improving knowledge of human language and culture to serve national development as well as international integration. The university was appointed by the Ministry of Education and Training, the organizing committee of the National Foreign Language Project, to be one of the 5 major regional language centers for foreign language training, professional development for language teachers, technologies in language teaching and learning, language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teachers locally and nationally. Being a member of the University of Danang with 36 years tradition in education and research, udn-ufls has been an incubator for generations to pursue their dreams. Currently, the total number of university staff members is 324, including 8 professors, 34 doctoral degree holders, and 179 master degree holders. The majority of staff members hold a second master degree at many prestigious universities in the world. The university has been chosen by the government to be a key institution for implementing the missions assigned by the National Foreign Language Project and a center of excellence in foreign language training region-wide. The university has been assigned by the National Foreign Language Project to implement many important programs of its annual plan, including using technology in language teaching and learning, English for teaching, professional development for language teachers, innovative teaching for new English language curriculum, and language testing and assessment for university lecturers and high school teachers for many localities in the region and in the whole of Vietnam. The university lays a strong emphasis on training in alignment with societal demands, setting close linkages with localities and businesses. UFLS students receive constant support in terms of granted scholarships, internship, and soft skills and career-related trainings.
The University of Foreign Language Study, University of Danang, UD-UFLS takes pride in being one of the very first higher education institution in the country granted certification of educational quality assurance. UD-UFLS has also successfully undertaken the AUNQA assessment at the program level for 2 of its bachelor programs in the English language and international studies, and is now proceeding with its roadmap to undertaking the assessment and accreditation for all other training programs offered at the university.
A responsible university should turn its commitment and dedication into a motto which is all for quality of training. It should be a place where every single facet of achievement and success is recognized throughout the lens of this motto, all for the beloved students. A place where student support is always given the highest importance. UD-UFLS will always be by your side, lifting you on the wings of endless hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, please come back and settle down for the webinar session. Please mute your microphone, change your virtual background, and turn your camera on. Thank you. Now, coming to the webinar session, we would like to introduce our honorable guest speakers. Ambassador Dr. Tôn Sinh Thành, former Vietnamese ambassador to India, Nepal, and Bhutan, high-ranked lecturer at the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. Dr. Mahima Singh, online academic counselor, professional English trainer. And Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi, Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Language Teacher Education. And we regret to inform you that due to several technical issues, Dr. Mahima will join us a little late. So now, let's welcome the presence of Dr. Tôn Sinh Thành and Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi. We are coming to the webinar of Model ASEAN Summit in Danang 2021. This year's main theme is ASEAN Education Amid Coronavirus Pandemic, Challenges and Opportunities. To help us have an overview about the ASEAN's collective efforts to effectively respond to challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the digital transformation in education, we are pleased to invite our guest speakers, Ambassador Dr. Tôn Sinh Thành, Dr. Mahima Singh, and Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi to share their viewpoints. Please give them a big round of applause. Welcome. And let us invite Ms. Lê Thị Phương Loan, the webinar's moderator.
Good morning. And welcome to the Model ASEAN Summit in Danang 2021 at the University of Foreign Language Studies, the University of Danang. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, to apologize for my inability to change my virtual background due to some technical problems. Whenever I try to turn the background on, there was a error of green screen, and it will blur all of the camera image. So sorry for that. Very sorry for that. Well, so thank you, Bảo Trang, for introducing our distinguished guest speakers, and thank you, Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thành. Thank you, Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi and Dr. Mahima. She will join us later for spending time to join our webinar under the Model ASEAN Summit 2021 in Danang. And as you know, the theme of the Model ASEAN Summit in Danang this year is ASEAN Education Amid Coronavirus Pandemic, Challenges and Opportunities. And with support from our guest speakers, today we'll be discussing two main topics. The first one will be about digital transformation in education and remote teaching, advantages and challenges. The second topic will be about economic impacts of COVID-19 on higher education in ASEAN and ASEAN member states. So as you know, among the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. It is expected by 2030, all girls and boys complete a free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. However, in the past 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic has reversed decades of progress towards this goal. So education in ASEAN countries is greatly affected in many ways. So in this sense, what are the ASEAN and member countries responding to the pandemic? And the first question I would like to address to Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thành is, how has COVID-19 changed education in ASEAN countries? Please, Ambassador, could you share with us your view on how the COVID-19 changed education in ASEAN countries? Could you please? Hello, Ambassador. Dr. Tong Sinh Tan, could you turn on your microphone and...
Sorry. Okay, first of all, I would like to very warmly welcome the initiative of Danang University for organizing this simulated ASEAN Summit. This is very, very meaningful activity when Vietnam is an active member of ASEAN, joining us, other members to build ASEAN community. This is online activity happen in the context of ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So even the actual ASEAN meeting must be conducted online as well. So on the topics of today's discussion, I would like to present my views on digital transformation in education, and also the response of ASEAN as individual member and also organization. As you know, the digital transformation in education is not new, not a story of today or just yesterday. For the past 2 decades, the advances of IT and internet have led to online education, remote education all over the world, and the growth of these markets as well as technologies of online teaching show that the digital transformation in education has a lot of potential of the future for education. When the pandemic 19 broke out on global scale and in our region, which honed on the social economic activities, and students at all levels must go to school, cannot go to school, but they go to school, they have to stay at home. The digital transformation really became a process of that changed the whole new phase of education. But digital education can only be carried out without face-to-face communication. For the online education, all inputs to the education process must be digitalized, including the learning materials, documents and textbooks must be digitalized. And this includes also the transformation of own teaching method, classroom management techniques, way of interacting with the students. Next, the output can also be digitalized. I think there's problem. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Ambassador. We all hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So because we in the digitalized platform, we also must ensure the value of online education. So the digital transformation requires new infrastructure, also new equipments for both learners and teachers. And this requires hardware devices, software, and the platform for all education activities. Stable internet connection is also very important for this platform. And digital transformation cannot be successful if the people who directly conduct the training are not skilled enough to use technology. They also need some new skills to organize instruction, organize the teaching, and keeping the student in the class, maintaining student attention on learning tasks. They are very, very important factor for the success of online training. These are the challenges to education to all nations in the world, including ASEAN countries in particular. The reason is that the basic feature of ASEAN is the undevelopment development among members. The gap between the more developed countries like Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia with the rest of the region is not small. And therefore, the condition to deal with the pandemic are different in each country. In some countries, only 50% of population has access to electricity. In some countries in ASEAN now still exists the fact that people are not accessible to electricity. Not mentioning the rate of internet access. It is still very low in some countries. Furthermore, as the pandemic has weakened the economies in the region, the state must reduce spending on public services, including education. So many families lose their jobs, their income drops, and it led to the increase in the number of students dropping out of the school, and or they may not have enough money to buy online facilities. So pandemic in general and the failure in the digital transformation of education are threatening the success of ASEAN community building, including the building of ASEAN socio-cultural community, which is the very important pillar of ASEAN. The success and failure of social cultural community, including the education transformation, will determine the development of human resources in the region, which is the most important factor for prosperity of each country and the region as a whole. But the good news is that individual countries of ASEAN, as well as the whole bloc, have very quickly responded to the pandemic and transform the education digitally. In most member countries, schools as well as universities and training institutions have switched to online teaching, learning, and television teaching. Governments of different countries have made timely plans along with the adequate budget for education sector to rapidly transform to digital education. In fact, ASEAN has a plan for education transformation long before. In the declaration of ASEAN Concord 2 in Bali, ASEAN leaders has identified main goals for ASEAN social cultural community, including building a community of caring societies, improving the lives of disadvantaged people, encouraging the active participation of social class, and investing more resources for education. And in the master plan for the community building for the period up to 2015, it has focused on 6 main areas, including human development, with 7 components, including prioritizing education, human resource development, creating jobs, and information technology development. And the next master plan of ASEAN from up to 2025, which have been approved by the leaders in 2015. It has preserved the key points of the previous master plan, but at the same time, it has emphasized the implementation of ASEAN Community Vision 2025, aiming at peace, stability, resilience, and enhanced capacity to respond effectively to challenges and seize opportunities. When the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, ASEAN leaders demonstrated their ability to respond effectively to the requirements of digital transformation in education in ASEAN countries. Last year in November 2020, ASEAN ministers of education have met and issue a joint statement affirming that this pandemic is a crisis that needs to be turned into opportunity to rethink and transform education. ASEAN education system needs to become more resilient through the digital transformation and harnessing private sector partnership, thereby promoting digital transformation scheme for all children. ASEAN leaders further affirm education as a key to ASEAN post-pandemic recovery and emphasize the importance of successful implementation of the Declaration on Human Resource Development and the Work Plan on ASEAN Education from 2021-2025. We are not lacking in awareness of the challenges, and we also have a plan to deal with them in education. The point is how to act and turn these challenges into opportunities to rapidly digitalize education for our country, each country, and for ASEAN as a whole. So I wish the seminar and the simulated ASEAN Summit a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Tôn Xuân Thành, and we will get back to you right after the discussion with Dr. Yao Ji and Dr. Lê Thị Yao Ji. So you are a lecturer, a dean, an educational expert, and also a parent. So could you share with us what can stakeholders do to get adapted to the challenges posed by the pandemic that elaborated by Ambassador Tôn Xuân Thành regarding the political impacts, the economic impacts, also social impacts of the COVID-19 on the stakeholders? Please, Dr. Yao Ji, please, could you share with us your idea? I don't know, but there's a technical problem with your microphone. It seems like it's echoing a lot. So could you check? Could you check it again, please? Still, I cannot hear you. Could you say something? Testing the microphone. Cannot hear you. So Ambassador Tuntunhan had shared with us a lot of information related to especially the social and economic impacts of the pandemic. I really amazed all of us because it's today Vietnam, the number of infected cases of the COVID-19 pandemic has reached over 1 million. And I think that is an alarming signal of how a policy implication of how the stakeholders can react and respond to the pandemic. So Dr. Chi, could you like just I cannot hear you. I don't know if the host can hear you. Maybe my internet connection. Could you say something again? No, I can't still. Have you moved your microphone? No, it's still on. Still on. I cannot hear you.
So, Ms. Phương Loan, may I say something?
Yeah, please. Please, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa, please.
Well, I just want to share some of my feelings about the speech made by Ambassador Dr. Tô Sinh Hẳn. Yeah, is that possible? While we are waiting for Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chí.
Yeah, please. Please.
So, thank you very much. And Ambassador Dr. Tô Sinh Hẳn, I'm deeply impressed by your speech. I must say it's a very interesting and informative speech, which provides with a panoramic picture of the Asian education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe that our students have gained a lot of useful information from your speech. And I am particularly interested in knowing about the current position of Vietnam, as well as the role of Vietnam in the digital transformation in the field of education in ASEAN. So, would you mind sharing with us some more information about the current position and the role of our country in the digital transformation in the field of education in the Asian region? Would you please?
I think the question also very good because you know that Vietnam is now an active member of ASEAN. We are part of this region, and the pandemic is affecting not only our country but the whole region. And the pandemic now is not, the connected among the region, the whole world, but the region first. We have prevent pandemic not only in our country. We are not safe if other countries are not safe. So in this fight against the pandemic, we have to promote the cooperation among countries first in the region. So in terms of education, we also understand that we cannot stop education We cannot stop. Students must go to school, like the adults go to work. So we know that we have to transform our education. We have to transform to digital transformation now, and this is also what the other ASEAN countries doing, and we can do together. That's why ASEAN education minister have a statement that we should support each other. We should have cooperation in digital transformation. We are all supporting this plan, and we have to do it in Vietnam first. If we are not digital, then how can other countries in ASEAN be digital? And especially we have to pay attention to the gap between the developed countries in ASEAN and the less developed countries, where the access of internet and the facilities for digital transformation is not as available as in other countries. So we need to narrow the gap among countries in ASEAN. So that's, I think, the position of our government, of Vietnam government now. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Tôn Sinh Thánh, for your profound answer. So we understand that Vietnam is on the way to digitalize the field of education, and we are trying to provide the necessary infrastructure so that we can take full advantage of the opportunities to overcome the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. So I strongly believe that our students can see the bright prospect ahead of them, so that they can strive more and more in their study for the sake of contributing to the digital transformation of the country. Once again, thank you ever so much, Ambassador Dr. Tôn Sinh Thánh. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa, the Vice Dean of the Faculty of English, the University of Foreign Language Studies, University of Danang. And as addressed by Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thánh, you also covered the importance of digital transformation on not only the educational sector, but also on social aspects of life of the citizens amid the COVID-19 pandemic over the past 2 years. So you already shared about knowledge about the position of Vietnam and some solutions, some policy implication that Vietnam should put efforts into upgrading and speeding up our speed of digital transformation. Talking about digital transformation, we're really in need of online platforms. For example, in education, we're really in need of online platform, which is normally accessible, free, to and open to and reliable, of course, to all of the stakeholders like lecturers, students, and also parents. And as you mentioned about the development gap between Vietnam and other nations in ASEAN, then how could we address those challenges in terms of, as you say, about the speeding up the digital transformation in education sector, in terms of the online platforms?
Question to me?
Yeah.
Question to me?
Yes, please. We are waiting.
Okay.
I
think the way for improving the digital transformation has been mentioned in the education minister meeting, which proposed that there needs to be the hands or the participation of all stakeholders, including the private sectors.
Right.
And besides, the government have to give more resources, more budget for transforming the education system to digital system. And this is very important because even after pandemic, we still need digital transformation, not just only during the pandemic time. So I think, in fact, there's seen a problem of platform. There are quite many platforms now, but the problem is that it's not credible. It's not really good, like free of chat platform like this. Sometimes, in fact, this morning I cannot join it, and then so we need to develop a good platform for Vietnam and if possible for ASEAN. So we can contact, we have a digital education in a very good and stable platform. So and I think that the government have to pay for it. I think the government of ASEAN and each country have to have a good budget for making I think at least one platform for the whole education system. Now I think most of universities in Vietnam use Microsoft Teams, which is a good one. It is quality. Vietnam Diplomatic Academy also use it, and it's really credible. But I think we cannot use it free of charge forever. That's why we have to develop a good platform now. We cannot use other platform like Zoom, which is not very safe, and other many. I know quite many platforms already. So what we have to do now is to develop one of that. I think it should be a proposal for Ministry of Education to develop one credible platform.
But don't you think that will put more burden on the social welfare system and the economic burden on the government, as now they are sponsoring and financing the prevention and treatment of COVID-19 pandemic patients and infectious cases? So, and also a lot of online applications, like for example, in the Ministry of Health and also other ministries, they are working on, like, there will be too many online platforms, and especially in terms of education, as you said, that like Zoom, like Google Meet, or even Microsoft Teams. I think Microsoft Teams, the application is not free of charge. I think it's and so I think it will like create more economic burden on the social welfare and on the government. So I appreciate the idea of the participation of the private-public partnership, as you mentioned earlier. But how? Because the private sector also suffered negatively, really tremendously and seriously due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So that is also more economic burden, and that will slow down the economic development of Vietnam, don't you think? You also shared some information about how Vietnam education system has tried to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. So in your opinion, students who are studying abroad and they have to return to Vietnam due to the pandemic, and now some of them are unable to get back to their overseas universities. So in your view, what should they do to maintain their online studying effectively? That's also a concern for our students too.
I think the only way is to continue their study online. This is the only way. It's really the pandemic situation is still serious in many countries, including Vietnam. So moving out is not possible now. And many universities and schools in the world are still closed down. They have to continue education online. So the only way is they stay in Vietnam and they continue their course program online. It's available. I know many cases that students come back to Vietnam cannot come to Vietnam and not come back to their the education country. So they have to continue online. That's the only way, and they have to do it seriously. It just cannot just wait for 1 or 2 years and continue their education. And now I think digital education is also good. If the connection, the internet is good, and on the platform is good, and how quickly we can transform all this education to digital, including the materials, including giving them online materials, giving them text, online text, and online examination must be good. In fact, in diplomatic academy, we are giving for 2 years now, we are giving only online lessons. I am also teaching online, and I have to, be more creative on how to give lessons to the student. And even I am teaching negotiation and how to practice negotiation online. We often think that we have face to negotiate, but in fact, the student can still practice online. They can negotiate like face to face, digitally. So I think we can make use of all these online facilities. We have to make use of it. We have to be more creative in this difficult situation. So in the same way, the student which cannot come to their university have to stay at home and continue their study. That's the only way now.
Yes, I agree. So the pandemic requires the lecturers and even the students have to be more creative, right? In your sense, more creative. And yes, I totally agree. I myself, as a lecturer, have to try many ways, actually every way, as many as possible, try to motivate and inspire students in my online classes so that they could stay focused on the lessons. Because whenever I ask for their participation or answering a question, they just type in the chat box like sorry, my microphone breaks down, or things like my internet connection like lags and I cannot hear you and things like that. And it really upset me, because I think like sometimes I am talking to my computer alone, and it gets on and on for like over like 2 years now, and it's really, really stressful. So you just mentioned earlier that not even the pandemic, the outbreak, that we have to turn to digital transformation, but it is just a stimulus, a momentum, an opportunity for us to speed up our digital transformation. And with that, even without the pandemic, Vietnam also have to turn to and invest in the digital transformation, like digitalize every aspect of the economy, so that we can keep up with the development of other like developed countries, economies like Singapore or other like more developed economies in the world. So let's talk about some positive changes to the youth due to the pandemic. As you mentioned, like lecturers have to be more creative. So if we're looking on the bright side, the pandemic has brought opportunities for the youth to be like exposed to the many online platforms and many virtual career opportunities. So could you share with us about the positive change of the youth, like from your personal experience at the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam, first of all, and then to the youth in Vietnam as a whole?
From by my personal experience, I feel that the student, the young people don't like digital education. They want more face-to-face education. I think it's they have it's true, because it's staying at home and studying at home is quite stressful, even for us, for the teacher, and for the student also.
Yes, it's true, so true.
And it limits the outcome of the education. Limit also. This can be good only for very, very serious, very serious and very attentive the student. Yeah, and they are really serious on learning. But I don't think most of the all the students cannot be always serious like that, because that's the nature of the education process. They have to learn how to be more attentive. They cannot be attentive without education. So I think we have to now we have to teach and online, but if a pandemic stop, we have to change to in class education, because there is more, we cannot, education is also a communication, people communication process, and we have to mix, the online education and also in class education in the future. Yeah, especially for some subject, it must be in class, in house,
right?
Education, especially those subject in Diplomatic Academy. We are teaching the skills.
Yeah, skill courses has to be like it will
we
be better.
We cannot show this
in person.
How the skill online is very difficult, So the job now is to stop the pandemic, and then we return to in-house teaching, and the student can study more effectively.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Ambassador Tan. I just seen Dr. Yao Ji has logged back into the system. Dr. Yao Ji, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
You are right back. Welcome.
I have a standby computer.
So, sorry for like the technical problem. So, Ambassador Tosin Tan and I just share some thoughts about how the COVID-19 pandemic changed education sector and transform education sector to be more digitalized. And could you share with us, as a lecturer, an education expert, also a parent, about the how stakeholders do to get adapted to the challenges?
Thank you, Long. I don't know whether you can hear me clearly.
Yes, perfect.
Now without a microphone. Thank you, Ambassador, for your very insightful comments and remarks. I've been listening to you with a lot of informative and convincing argumentation about how Vietnam and different stakeholders have already adapted to this very new situation of COVID pandemic. First of all, let me say my view from the perspective of an educator. I think in all situations, whenever there is the will, there will be a way. And I think the pandemic has been adding to a very good push factor to the whole system to go online, to switch into the virtual reality, which is a reality, which is an inevitable trend in our society, in the whole world. We've been talking, maybe over the past years, we've been hearing the government going for e-governments, Danang city going for smart city. And at UFLS, we have been preparing and developing our program toward digitalized transformation. But there has not been any time better than now, when all of the teachers, all of the stakeholders, all of the students, we have been forced and we have been motivated to do this. This is a very good opportunity. As a parent, I haven't seen my daughter for almost a year because she has been in Hanoi and studying away from home. And she had been used to studying online and interacting with parents online. And we hear her chatting, we hear her smile, her cry, all of the problem, different emotions, except for the feeling of touching her, physically, being by her side emotionally. All of we really need this. So thinking about that perspective, the online education and remote education, I would say this is not just going online. We have to accept what we say the distant education, because the online learning has been with us for quite some time. A few years ago, we have been very fortunate to attend a lot of online courses, e-courses for teachers around the world. So that would be like, and Mr. Ambassador has stated, a lot of resources have gone online, become digitalized for students and teachers to have access. But it also creates something that we say, it can be a gap. I don't know whether you agree with me or you correct me if I'm wrong. I can see a gap between what we say information rich and information poor students. Not all of the students have computers. Not all of the parents have computers. It makes me cry, when we say the student, not just student, children starting education at the age of 6, that to fix their eyes on the computer screen, studying at night because their parents have to be with them, learning to write, learning to read. We have to adapt ourselves to the pandemic. But what about the other problems, the health problems, back problems, headache, neck ache, headache, and backache? And we can see a lot of problems with the health and the physical fitness of both teachers and students. And yesterday I heard the very good news from the Prime Minister, and he said we cannot prolong online learning anymore. We need to get children back to school. Children need to be with other children. Children need to be with other children, with other teachers, with the teacher, to feel the love, to see the care, to witness the attention and the enthusiasm. And now we all look at each other from the computer. How can the computer convey and transcend on their love? But it had been so hard. All of the teachers, all of the students, and the whole government and the whole country and the whole world, we have to go online. And that is something we need to triumph over to ensure safety and health. But we need to get out of this. The online learning is a very good strategy to get us adapted. But in the future, we cannot say it cannot replace human being, the interaction. So what is very difficult, and I feel very strong in me, is how to make ourselves motivated. What the ambassador had already stated, keeping the attention, retaining the attention of students. And very important, if we want to engage our students online with different interactive tools and add technological facilities, first of all, we need to motivate ourselves as a teacher. That's very difficult. The first thing we do, and the first thing I'm very concerned about, is how to keep our students motivated. And the very first thing before we can do that is how to keep and stay motivated ourselves as a teacher to enable students to engage, to motivate, and to find the meaning in learning, and to find a way out of the difficulties. So I think there will be a lot of things, and maybe later on I can share more, but to answer your questions, I think it is a very good time. And I love what the ambassador has stated. We turn the challenges into opportunities. And we have seen opportunities in how we transform the educational system and how every lecturer become a technician, the laboratory technician, and an expert in, switching into an online education, thing that not many of us have been familiarized with, had been taught or instructed to do, but we all have become a very good lifelong learner, and we learn how to adapt to the environment. And that is something we think we can set the example for students, and parents also need help, support, in terms of technical support, in order to help their students. We say that the classes go online, but whether the parents have been well-trained and well-informed and well-supported to use the computer, to use the tool for interaction to help their children. So that is something, that is why I say I have seen the gap between students from more disadvantaged areas where the facilities are not good enough, where information technological awareness had not been good enough, and computer literacy had not been, like we say, generalized and universalized to every one of us, to every family. So, okay, that's some of the points I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yauti. That is very moving sharing, and in terms of your personal experience with your daughter learning in Hanoi and your experience as a teacher and also the concerns for in terms of the social impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the general population. And earlier, Ambassador To Shin Tan mentioned about the solutions that helps teachers to get adapted to the situation, the changing situation. And he said that teachers have to be more creative. So Dr. Yao Ji, you are an educational expert and you are interested in professional development for teachers. And I also know that for young lecturers, they are required to take a number of courses in terms of pedagogical skills and content-based skills or something like that. So in terms of the changing situation due to the pandemic, don't you think there should be some kind of a package program for professional development for young lecturers? And now I think not only young lecturers, but all lecturers to get exposed to the digitalized platforms and everything related to the changing situations. Also, this is the questions addressed to both of you, to the ambassador and to Dr. Yao Ji, whether in your schools or your university and Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam, there any training program or any package or any support from the authority to train and to support lecturers in terms of pedagogical skills so that they can be more motivated, inspired, or to be less stressful in terms of online teaching?
So let me, sorry, Mr. Ambassador, you have been talking too much, a lot. So may I continue with some of my to Mr. Ambassador talking about the level of creativity. I must say, I'm exaggerating things, but I haven't seen any time better than this time when we have already we have already exposed to the different opportunities that really engage us, that really motivated us. And we can see situations where teachers have been very creative in making things possible. Very recently, in July, August, September, our university, UFLS, and a lot of teachers lecturers from our university had been engaging in a lot of professional training for teachers in high school, lower secondary school, and even primary school. That is a package from the Ministry of Education and Training. And this year, very difficult. It is the year when we start implementing the new language curriculum and also the general education towards the fundamental and comprehensive educational reform. And you can imagine we have to implement that program in an online setting where the teachers in other areas, they are not well informed and they have never experienced this kind of pandemic, because we, Danang City, we were hit by the pandemic last year and until now, so we have some experience. And at the university, it's not just the teachers, we raise our voice and we voice our call for help. Please help us. We need technical training, we need professional training, and the university with a lot of technicians and technological experts, they have already embarked in the whole journey, training the teachers through different packages, different programs at the university. I must say I'm grateful to my university for helping me together with a lot of self-efforts. I have to say, with this online environment, and we can see a lot of resources available online. We have received training from the regional office of the American you know, what do we say, reload, right? And we have seen a lot of help from the DSON organization, and we have participated in a lot of modules with e-learning and online courses. So we learn the experience together with some basic knowledge. We go online and we try to find a lot of programs, you know, a lot of instructional program available online for teachers. Everything is there. I can see we need to say that we are grateful, and I highly appreciate all of the, what we say, technician, all of the educational expert and technological experts in helping shaping the new phase of education in this time. Okay, a lot of interactive tool, and in the classroom we have used a lot of tools for warm up, a lot of quizzes and games for consolidation, a lot of forum for students, even students, they use a lot of interactive tools and a lot of tools to make lovely presentation, to do the dubbing, to do the subtitling, to make the presentation. They make me cry. And not only the teacher, but we are not only creative, we are the one who ignite the creativity, who stimulate the student interest, and who, you know, we give the opportunities, and we have to set new objectives in our learning objectives, in our assessment requirements. Because one of the requirements for assessment had been well stated, but now it should be adapted to the online environment. So I think there will be a lot of things to share, but I must leave the space for our beloved and distinguished ambassador to say something else before I continue. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yati, and Ambassador Tan, please. We would love to hear you sharing about well, professional development and training courses and supports, technical supports and emotional supports from your academy to the lecturers and students.
Yeah, I totally agree with Professor Zhao Qi that we have a lot of resources online. Yeah, it's so during the pandemic, in the difficulty, we know how to explore and exploit all the resources online for our teaching. And but I think we still need the support from, you know, the government and all other stakeholders for improving the education condition for us. In fact, I think now we just started for transforming education. There are still a lot of problems. We need we need just one stable platform. We don't have, right? And especially the gap among the people. Just recently, I heard that even in Vietnam now, 1.5 million students, the pupils, don't have online facility for studying. How can they receive education especially in remote areas? And I know that million of students in ASEAN countries, they don't have facilities for online studying. There's still a lot of problems now. So we need the support from the government of each country and also ASEAN also. Together we have to work and give a more good condition for new education. And I heard that the ASEAN leaders have decided that ASEAN to develop a toolkit for high quality remote teaching. I don't know how can they do that, but if it's possible, then it's very good for us, and it's a gesture of support from the government, from each country and ASEAN as a whole.
Thank you, Ambassador. If that toolkit is put into use, I think it will leverage the level of digital transformation and enhance the cooperation and the partnership between public-private sectors, and also benefits the population. I also have one more concern that, as you know, students at their university years, in addition to their official curriculum at the university, they are encouraged to participate in exchange programs for international experience and exposure. So due to the pandemic in the past 2 years, a number of exchange programs like international camp or field trip, those kind of exchange programs has been either postponed or canceled. So a number of, I have to say, talents or the elite students has been affected as they fail to apply for those programs. It is canceled or delayed. So what is your view about and how would we facilitate the skills necessary to, requires for students to take part in those exchange programs as an alternative so that they can still have international experience, like in terms of intercultural communication or broadening their network, so that they can still be better prepared for their graduation to join the labor market, because I think it is a challenge for them during the past 2 years when they are at their university years and they have the right to apply to join those exchange programs. But now due to the pandemic, they fail to do that, and it affects their career in the future. So what are the alternatives that they might take to still be better prepared for their graduation if they cannot join those international camps or international exchange programs?
You mean the question to?
Yes, the two questions to the guest speakers today. Yeah.
I think, Professor Zhao Chi is
Thank
honored.
you. I think this is the question for our distinguished ambassador, but may I share some of my points? I think this is very true. Over the past 2 years, we have seen the loss of opportunity for students to take part in international exchange programs, and even students who can join some of the camps where they can develop a lot of life skills and soft skills, survival skill, and global citizenship and intercultural competence. But now, so I think the time is, for now, we have to think about how we can do this online too. Everything has gone online. So what can stop us from having this summer camp, virtual summer camp? And now we are going, I think maybe the ambassador, after this webinar, he going to initiate a winter summer camp in a virtual reality, virtual environment for students from different Asian countries. So I think it can be a good way, because, anyway, we are training future professionals for the future environment, for the future context. So they need to learn how to adapt, and maybe in the online environment, they can even develop even more skill with the digital and transformation skills, and that can be really good, so that the student during the college years for the current generation, they will not lose the opportunity that the predecessor have already enjoyed from the program. And I myself, I think even not only students, the teacher ourselves, we need to think about having webinar like this with international speakers, and even we have the faculty exchange program. Even we can have workshop, international workshop or conferences where we can share opinion, expertise in how teachers around the world in the Asian community have already adapted to the environment, and there will be a lot of success stories to share and problem to share, so that some of the more insightful solution can come up, so that we can think about how we can better deal with the situations, because we don't know whether the pandemic will come to an end or there will be another pandemic. So now, the time for now, I think maybe after this webinar, our ambassador would initiate that idea of having the summer camp for not only for students, but also for teachers like us, for the educators to see, because seeing is believing. You know, we have been hearing, we have been talking, but now we want to see how our friends, countries in the community have dealt with environments and share the success stories and think about what will lie ahead for the educators, for the educational system. I'm very happy to hear our ambassadors say that there will be like a toolkit, a packet, an Asian toolkit, but together with the development of the toolkit, there would be the good enough preparation for training people how to use the toolkit. The toolkit will become, you know, meaningless if people don't know how to make good use of it for the benefits of our students. So I would leave further space for our ambassador. Thank you. Are you happy with the initiative for this, for the winter camp?
Okay. I think in fact with online education we need creative and we also have you know, more opportunities. You just imagine if it's not online, then we have to, if we have a meeting, right? And we have to spend money. But online is almost no cost, almost no cost, or just a little cost, and we can have a meeting, and we can do a lot of things. With the condition we must be creative. If we are too if we are not creative, we cannot do anything online. So even you know, practice, as I said, we can have interaction online, like this simulated ASEAN summit. So we can do a lot of things like this. And when you are teaching, you can do the same, like group interaction, group negotiation. That's what I'm doing, you know. So in the past, this can do directly, but now we do it online, and we can do it, you know, not just fixed time. When time is available, we can do it. So it's quite flexible for us. So I think two conditions have to be there. So there must be creativeness, and also we have to make a plan. But then I think whatever we want, we can do it online. But the qualities cannot be good as direct education. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, our guest speakers. And the webinar, I shared my concern because for the organization of this Model ASEAN Summit 2021 in Danang this year, we at first the board of organizers have to take a lot of things into consideration whether to organize this event this year or not. Because previously, as you may have seen from the videos displayed in the beginning of this opening ceremony, we organized the Model ASEAN Summit 2017 and then 2019 on site at the university with participations from cities and provinces in Vietnam. They flew back in Danang. They flew to Danang to enjoy the weekend with us, to share and to exchange ideas and to discuss to improve their personal and interpersonal skills, and also broaden their network with us. And still, some of them, that we call them the mass alumni, still get back to support us this year. But then due to the pandemic, we have to consider whether to organize the event. And then, like I just share my concern, if we cancel the event this year, then the students of this generation, the cohort 20 and 21, will not have a chance to experience a simulation of the ASEAN Summit, in which their seniors have already got a chance and still now. So and in order to organize such a webinar, a lot of technical problems have to be put into considerations, and a lot of efforts. And also thank you our technical teams and the board organizers and staff and students who have helped us a lot of efforts, I think time and efforts in making this happen. And I really hope that the initiative put by Dr. Yao Chi about the winter international camp, that might a virtual camp would be beneficial for a student and would be organized just like this webinar, so that students can have a chance to still in the pandemic time could increase, enhance, develop their personal and interpersonal skills. And this webinar, with the participation of our distinguished guest speakers, will be open for questions for the Q&A session from our delegates. And in the chat box, I have seen a number of questions. First of all, by Kim, from representative from Team Cambodia. Kim, could you turn on your microphone and put the question to the speakers, please?
Yes, so I really thanks for sharing from Dr. Yao Chi and Dr. Tong Sin Tan also. So I have the question is, can you share more about what should the student who is going to graduate and student just graduate the university need to prepare to face with the job market after the COVID-19? Because as you know, during the COVID-19 time, we lost a lot of job, and a lot of business and company decrease the employee. So after the COVID-19, they will rehire again. So I just wonder how can we improve our CV to apply for the company or for the business. Thank you.
Mắt em nằm được nghỉ xíu thôi chứ em cũng không ngủ đâu. Nhân ơi, tắt mic Nhân ơi.
So our guest, so Ambassador Tan and Dr. Yao Chi, would you like to address the question?
Professor Yao Chi, honor.
Maybe our ambassador will continue, but I think that is a very good question. That is a real problem and a real concern for many graduates who are going to graduate last year and this year, considering the employment opportunities and employability. For example, in the program we are delivering in our university, for me, for English language teaching. So, I think it would affect, but students, they have been very dynamic, very eager to look for some kind of jobs. And actually they started looking for job and having some kind of part-time job and become, and a lot of them have become freelance, or what we say, we call it freelance, or they have already started their business, educational service provision. So, students, I think this is the time when a lot of students have already gone more independent and very creative and very dynamic, and they have already found a lot of jobs would involve more digitalized competence, dealing with information, sharing information, using the technology, developing the website or designing, or even a lot of what we say online services. So together with the loss of a lot of jobs, we have to admit that there have been an increase in a number of new jobs, the job that have already been created because of the COVID. I think we have to experience, and we have to experience the problems, and students need to be more prepared with their digital computer literacy and their ability for adaptability. And I think that is very important, not only for the pandemic, but for other disasters, for any type to come, any incoming problem, challenges. So they show that they have already gone online, they have already done some kind of charitable program, they have already done some kind of student support services for the online student community, for the youth union, for the community. So I think the universities and the community and the local government would be happy to give them the certification. So that can be very good evidence and documentation for them to improve their CV. So a lot of students have already volunteered to do charitable work, to give a helping hands for people in need during COVID, during the disasters. So all of these should be acknowledged. And they should become very good evidence for students to make their CV look better. And we don't know what the future will be held, but students need to be more dynamic in kind of gaining experience from different type of things that they can do to improve their CV, to improve their employability. Thank you.
I think, may I?
Yes, please.
I think the students should not be too pessimistic. After storm, there will be bright sky. I think during the pandemic, it has a lot of damage to the economy and to the employment also. So people will, the jobs available will not as many as during the normal time. But after the pandemic, there must be a recovery, economic recovery for every country, especially for our region, for our country, because we are in the region which is there's a very good impetus for economic development. The ASEAN region is among the fast developing region. We have a lot of conditions for recovery. So when the economy recovery, there will be more jobs, even more than before. So if we look at the whole picture, the overall picture, I think there's still very good prospect for getting job for graduates. And concerning how the student can get can be graduated during pandemic, because they cannot have examination. I think now the government should be flexible. The Ministry of Education has just declared if you cannot have on-site examination, so online examination can be can be conducted. So don't worry about that. All students will be graduated from your school or universities, and job will be there waiting for you. Okay.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Dr. Yao Chi. And I saw a question from Model Head of Government of Malaysia. Could you turn on your microphone and ask the question to the speakers, please?
Gladly. Can you hear me well?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So as a student, we are cover ourselves in a bubble here. 57 delegates within our conference today. I must say, they are the people who already have this initiative. They want to go out there achieving something and want to put something on their CV, etc. and etc. What about people who don't do so? What about the people that do not have the initiative? Okay, in the pandemic, as Ms. Yao Chi have already spoken to us, it's forced a lot of us to learn technology. It forced us to move on in a way. That's how I interpreted it. But then there are people who just learn the basic thing. Okay, I'm going to learn on MS. I'm just learn how to use MS. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, how am I going to spend the entire day? I'm going to just lie down or sit in front of my computer, wasting time on social media and all of the things that they could be learning, all of the things that they could, the tool that they could use to produce so much things lost entirely. So my question is, there are people out there lacking this initiative. So as educator, I want to put on a question to all three of our educators here. How to help those people? I don't want to talk about the guy who's sitting here. They already have that initiation. The people who don't, how can we help them? Okay, thank you very much. That would be my question.
Thank you, Model Head of Government of Malaysia. Thank you, Ben. I think this question is quite on the macro level. So would you please, Ambassador, to address this question for those who are not like in this webinar? How could we?
I think this question is better answered by Professor Zhao Chi, who has, on the education and pedagogy.
Yes, please, Dr. Yao Chi.
That is a very nice and touching question. Actually, you remember I have already stated the pandemic and the initiatives from the minority of teachers have not covered and cannot heal all of the wounds experienced by the majority out there. I was talking about the gap between the information rich and the information poor, between the technology rich and the technology poor. We are talking about this. We are feeling and we are touching and we are talking about this very much concern. Even, I'm telling you, we are educators. We receive our salary. We got paid even during pandemic. We feel that we are fortunate. People out there, they lost the job. They don't have enough. They find it very difficult to survive, to have 2, even 1 meal a day. We understand that. That is a macro issue. That is a big issue. That is a global issue. But as educators, we think we are going to do our best. There will be the initiators who ignite the efforts, and then they have success stories, and they tell their success stories. They have that spillover effects, impactful, providing impactful professional development to other teachers. The teacher should not be alone in this process, helping the student learn. Because we say education, investing in education, investing in the future of a country is the investment of the education. And we think about children, we think about other teachers. I know that you feel very strongly about this, and we feel that too in our hearts. And we are trying. And from the very, a few months ago, okay, we have a national workshop, and we share with other teachers and educators and researchers of how we can engage active learning online with the use of interactive tool. And we share the experience, and there would be some kind of coaching and mentoring sections so that more and more teachers would be able to use it, to experience. It comes from giving exposure to experience. So from changing the mindsets, from translating ideas into practice, it takes time. That is a painful journey. Many of our teachers have already reached the age of 50 and 60s. Working on the computer screen would be a disadvantage. They have to wear the classes, electricity, a lot of problems. But students, we have to state that students also, you should be active. You should be optimistic. And you should take this as your responsibility too. Not just the teacher asking you, telling you what to do. You also have to find a way. I know that there are many families without computers. There are many students without stable internet connection. We know that. So that is how the whole system, the educational system, the local governments, the communities, the different families in the neighborhood, we share our helping hands. So those families and those students, at the university, we have the student support services. They have already recorded the problem with students, individual students, and together, the youth union and the student association, they have already recorded those students in need so that the university can have any kind of help and assistance and timely support needed for the students. I think that is very true in many parts of the world and in many parts of our country. It is there, the problems are there, but this is a big problem. This is a big issue. It requires joint efforts. And first of all, it requires our challenging mindset, thinking about how we can do more. We have already done a lot. Educators, we have tried what we can do, but we have to do more. But we need help. We should not be alone in our process of trying to find a way out, because education should ensure equity, equal study opportunities for everyone. And we understand that. That is a big question. And that is a very big concern. And we need even more voices to raise so that the whole community should join hands in making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yao Chi. And I also would like to share some of the additional information as a follow-up to Dr. Yao Chi's answer to the model head of government of Malaysia question. In fact, as educators and as the TOT, the trainers, the lecturers at not only this university, the USLS, but university and colleges all over Vietnam are working to try to provide training courses in terms of exposure to digital online platforms and pedagogical courses, so that more and more lecturers and teachers can get access to the online platforms and get familiar with the new teaching methods, the online methods. And so I think in terms of the students, you can support those who are at disadvantage in this online platform learning. For example, at the Faculty of International Studies, at our faculty, there was an alumni. She was a student from cohort 2017, graduated this year, in summer this year, and she in her hometown, and she organized an online English course for poor children in her hometown. So first of all, she went from door to door to persuade the parents of those children and set up. So do some initial setup for those children to be able to join her online course, and she provided on English online courses for those poor children. So I think as students, you can also help, like Dr. Yao just mentioned, like it required a joint effort, not only from the authorities, from the government, from the educators, from the lecturers, but also from the students, in order to make all of this happen and accessible, make education accessible to all children in Vietnam. So you can organize, or you can form some online courses, or you can support your friends or your the children in your neighborhood or your hometown to get access to a more reliable education in times of COVID-19, when they are at disadvantage, not being able to join the on-site courses. So that is my concern and sharing. And also, Ambassador, you have an admirer here. There's a question from the delegate. This was the first time I met the Vietnamese ambassador, and I felt very honored. Can you share how to become an ambassador of a country? Which major should I pursue? Please, Ambassador, I think this question is for you.
I think it's a good question. At least you show your aspiration, your dream to become an ambassador. But from my experience, it's not a difficult dream. You study, you learn, even in the pandemic period, you don't stop studying, then you become ambassador. In my opinion, everybody can be ambassador of your country, right? You represent your country. As a profession, you need more skills, more knowledge to practice as ambassador. But in yourself, if you are Vietnamese or whoever in ASEAN country, you can represent your country by, doing good things for your country in different areas, different job. You are so you can see, you can be an ambassador in tourism, in education. But as ambassador, to be working as ambassador as profession, then you have to study even more, because you have to know a lot of things. The more the better. I think I must say that the more the better. You have to know the knowledge specific. For example, if you are ambassador to a country, I was ambassador to India. You have to understand India. You have to understand about relation between our two countries, and you have to understand how to deal with the different situation in the relation. And if you are ambassador of a country to ASEAN, for example, you have to understand about ASEAN, how to solve the problems of ASEAN together. So I think everybody can become an ambassador. It's just a job. And if you continue studying, continue working, then it's not a remote dream for you. Okay.
Thank you, Ambassador. That's require a lot of learning and research also in terms of the enrichment of knowledge and skills. Also, one more question to you, Ambassador. This model meeting makes me feel like I was a real delegate representing a nation. After sharing from speakers, I feel that students like us during this digital time must quickly adapt with changes to become a global citizen who are responsible for national and regional affairs. I would love to hear more from Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thành, whose diplomatic experience could be useful for global citizens to be like us, about the benefits of joining in these types of events. We also admire you, Ambassador.
So I think in this globalization, the world, the more interdependence, then every people can become a global citizen. Because you know you have to expose to the whole world. So to be prepared to become a good global citizen, I think you have to learn a lot. Right? You have to know the language. So if you are studying in this Danang University, I think is an advantage. You will have at least one tool of communication, one good condition to become a global citizen. And you have to learn more about the cultures, different culture in the world. You have to be adapted to the different culture. It's not easy because you will face a cultural shock. Yeah, the food will be different. The food will be different. That's the first thing. For example, you go to India. For example, can you eat curry? Right? So you have to be very adaptive, very adaptive. Right? If you just keep your identity, you keep your culture, there's a problem. And you can never become a global citizen if you are a very extremist, cultural extremist. If you always regard your culture as the best, then you can never accept other countries' culture. So culture is the second thing. Then I think this at least two things you have to overcome before you can. That's language, and then the culture. Then that's the two conditions. If you want to be a global citizen, I think other Professor Zhao Chi can be. For now, I think at least two, from my experience, two things must be become before become the global citizen.
Yeah, I think those are the two most critical things. Like in terms of adaptability, yes, the food, the culture, yes, they might, and no, I think they must go through those culture shocks at the first time. And you're talking about adaptability. And I totally agree that adaptability is a big challenge for anyone who study or live in another country, in a foreign country. And talking about adaptability, I think it is one of our educational philosophy, right, Dr. Yaoji? And you are one of the the former of the educational philosophy of the University of Foreign Language Studies. So could you share with us on the guidance and share some thoughts on global citizenship and how to help students to be more adaptive and become a global citizen?
Thank you very much, Long, for introducing me. When our ambassador talked about globalization, so you reminded me of the research topic from my master in Australia, when I did write about globalization in higher education. And at the time, it was something very new, but we know that in the context of globalization with the interdependence of the nation states, and it would perfectly fit in the context of students in international studies who have to think beyond the country borders. So I am strongly in favor of the points made by our ambassador regarding the English language competence, foreign language competence, as one of the very first ingredients, and the second one, the cultural awareness. Intercultural competence for empowering yourself to become an ambassador. But to add to that, the passion, the passionate, that person would be passionate about becoming an ambassador, passionate about being representative of their own country, their own community, their own village, their own school. Before becoming an ambassador, they must become an ambassador, the speaker of their school, the voice of their class. So you come from the little thing and you gain a little, little by little, you develop that confidence and that love for diplomatic relations in all of the issues, and you infuse in yourself the feeling of being a person who talks, who shares the voice of many persons, many people. I think that is very important. First of all, it comes from love. And I'm very passionate about the general education program of our country, which has been initiated. And in that program, students, when they finish upper secondary schools, they will have language at the learning English at a compulsory subject, at a tool for communication. And by means of learning a language, I'm sure you are going to develop your intercultural competence, because the content-based education and the content knowledge of a lot of language exercises and practice come from cultural issues, political issues, international matters. So all of these are very important. So in order to be well adaptable to the global labor markets, first of all, I suppose our ambassador has stated, students have to try very hard. But it comes from the perspective and the mindset. And all the time, think beyond, think out of your box, think beyond the boundaries of what is normal within your daily practices. Think further. Students, I think when they attend this webinar, they have already practiced their international experiences, and we know how to communicate, acknowledging the diversity. And I totally agree with our ambassador. We cannot be an extremist. We love our culture, but we have to learn that every culture is beautiful in their own way. Every language is beautiful in their own way, and we acknowledge that diversity. We acknowledge that divergence, that convergence, and we see the beauty in the diversity, and we see the diversity in the uniqueness. That is why we say in the process of globalization, we say we don't want to be in a melting pot. We want to be a salad bowl where we can see the uniqueness and we can see the distinctive feature and the beauty of every single country, every single culture, every single nationality. And with that appreciation, with that respect of diverse culture, with that respect of convergent ideas and divergent ideas, all of these things would be pulled together, fueling within you a global outlook. We think global, but we act local. I remember what I learned. Think global, act local. And that bringing your capacity, your mindsets. But you need to look from the international capacity, but you have to look further into our context. Whether we can apply, how much we can adapt. That is the reason why in our educational philosophy, we had a lot of debates, our ambassador, on whether we put the word adaptation or adaptability. So we decided to make it adaptability, which show the ability to adapt. If we just say adaptation, it means we respond to change. But with adaptability, we are well prepared before we take any challenge. You understand what I mean? So we train ourselves to be adaptable. It is like the, UK, the Britain, you say the sun never sets on the British Empire because of the weather in Britain is changeable. So the UK soldier, the British soldier, they were very much adaptable to the changing weather, adding to the success of the colonialization of the British Empire. And we think that students, you need to build up, to shape that ability to adapt, learning, trying, taking risks, and challenging the challenges. Honorably things, on way, willing to learn, because I like the saying, never stop learning, because life never stops. Life never stops teaching you. There will be always something to learn. And even with the people, we say people out there, and our delegate from Cambodia, Malaysia, put the question on some of the people have been left out there. But maybe when we have a conversation with them, we can see how they learn to adapt to that environment, how they can make sure their children can continue and pursue lessons, delivery of lesson contents, so that they can survive and they can thrive. We learn to survive, but not just to be happy and to survive, and we learn to thrive in a very difficult situation. So that I support the meaning of adaptability. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yao Chi, and thank you, Ambassador. We are going to the end of the webinar, and I will put one more. Yes. Yes, Dr. Quỳnh Hoa. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I have been listening attentively to the discussion in our webinar, and I must say I'm strongly unanimous with what our ambassador and Dr. Yao Chi has been sharing in terms of various aspects of education amid the COVID-19 pandemic influence, together with the opportunities as well as the challenges ahead of us, especially what confronts our young generation. So I must say our discussion has been so fascinating that I found it impossible to get the chance to raise my voice. So now again, I would like to say thank you for Mr. Loan to give me an opportunity towards the end of the event. I would say that what Dr. Yao Chi and our ambassador have been sharing was so interesting, so informative and helpful for our students. And now I would like to say just a few words for the students. Obviously, what we can save most from the COVID-19 lockdown is the time, and we all agree that time is the most precious resource. So our students, why not make the best use of our time to study, for self-cultivation, and for dedicating to our community. So as students, self-cultivation and community service, I think are the two major goals you should pursue. And if you are really well prepared from now, I believe that you will certainly have opportunities in the future. So as Dr. Yao Chi and Mr. Ambassador already advised you, so be active, be energetic, and be consistent with your goals. And I'm very much interested in the saying, think globally and act locally. And I believe that right after this event, you will know how to act locally in the most effective way to help yourself, to help your family, to help your neighbors, your community, to overcome the difficulties, to be, facing the challenge with self-confidence. And then more and more opportunities will come to you in the future, not just in terms of employment, but in terms of, other prospects for a brighter future in our new era. So once again, I would like to congratulate the Faculty of International Study for having organized such a successful and significant event. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa, for your additional information and sharing in addition to the sharing of our distinguished guest speakers. And I believe that the students and the delegates of the Model ASEAN Summit 2021 will learn a lot from those sharing and advice from you and from our guest speakers. And coming to an end of the webinar, there is one more question from representative from Team Singapore. And this will be the last question of this webinar. And should you have more questions, kindly put into the chat box and we will reply by email to you. And the representative from Team Singapore, could you turn on your microphone and put the question to our speakers, guest speakers, please?
Yes. Good morning, everyone, and I want to say a huge thanks to all of you guys for delivering such a meaningful speech and really useful to all of us. And I find that during this COVID-19 period, we feel a little bit underwhelming because of the duration of learning online. Especially, I'm studying both my major with a new language in my major. And I still have to maintain my English skill too. Therefore, there are a lot of tasks and a lot of homework, as well as my assignments of class I have to finish. And I think it's not only my personal problem. Actually, a lot of my friends also face this problems too, and we find really a little bit negative. Somehow the feeling is not really positive whenever we sit all day in front of the camera to learn online all the subject. And my school, I think most of the university now still teach us with the same duration, with the like kind of the normal traditional offline class. So I want to hear from our guest speaker your opinions towards this question. How do you think about should university teach students with the same schedule and duration or not? Yeah, so that's my question. Thank you so much.
Dr. Yaoji, would you please address this question, please?
Thank you. That is a nice, very good question. I think maybe the MC could answer the question too, not only me, because you are the dean of a faculty. And that is a real problem, not only for students. Please remember, it would be harder even for teacher, because for you, you have to do a lot of exercise and homework, but we teachers, we have to load the resources on the online platform, deliver the lesson, promote the interaction, design different activities and different kind of tools. So a lot of activity with you to be organizing group or in pairs, but now it has already been well prepared for group and pair discussion on the online platforms. So the teacher would be under pressure too. So I think it is very important, as I stated, we need to find motivation. And anytime we learn, we need to try something new. So you can use this kind of platform for this course, but if the teacher would promote another platform, like additional platform where you can have something new to experience, so it really like the feeling of refreshment. And also, for example, in a lot of courses, we have the contents, but we can do kind of blended teaching. It means that a lot of content would be put online, so the student can do like they learn self-paced, and you can have some kind of preparation. So when it comes to student presentation and group work and projects, so you would not be totally 100% sitting in front of the computer screen, but you can have a meeting on the other platform. So my student can also do role-playing projects. They can do dubbing, subtitling. They can even, because you cannot go to campus, but some of the students in the same area, they can still meet if they are in the same area, a green space, for example, green zone, for example. So there would be some kind of activities for students to do, so they can really motivate them. And also we think about learning objectives. So some of the objectives of the courses should be adjusted, and even the assessments, even the kind of assignments would have been, for example, in my literature courses, students have to do role play and theatrical performances. So now they turn up into role playing, using the movie, using share video, doing the dubbing, and they become the real actors, but they turn up into animations. So it's like student entertaining, and they enjoying their learning rather than feeling that they are under pressure. But again, I must tell you, the teacher would be even more pressure than, they are even more pressure than you are. So please try to think about the efforts. That is what we have to do, because we need to survive. We all need to survive, but we need to survive well. And we need to make our time meaningful. As Professor Dr. Quỳnh Hoa said, we need to make the best use of our time and don't let the pandemic defeat us. I remember one very famous saying in the novel by Ernest Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea: humans are born not to be defeated. So I'm going to tell you, before this webinar, I have lost my voice because teaching too much in front of the computer screen and a lot of working online. But because of the passion for teaching, because of the responsibilities and the commitments to the educational course. So we need to try hard, but we learn a lot. And we feel that every day, with every day passing by, we become a better learner. And I would expect all of the students to think the way the teachers have been thinking very hard, trying very hard to make learning possible in this very difficult situation. So I would also strongly suggest that adaptability, again, is a nice word, and adjustment, modification to the cost delivery, to the materials load that the student have to do, so that they can still keep themselves motivated and feel that learning is still fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yaki. And yes, I cannot agree with you more. We have to, as teachers, we have our own difficulties to overcome. And as you say that this requires joint efforts. So both lecturers and students have to join hands to make the class more interesting, more engaging.
Quỳnh Anh, tắt mic đi.
So because we have to stick to the learning objectives of the course. So for example, there are 3 objectives, and due to the pandemic, students cannot join in such activities like field trip or to some real life simulation activities. Then teachers have to be, as ambassadors Dong Sen Tan and Dr. Yao mentioned earlier, very creative and adaptive to modify the learning activities into something virtual, but still engaging, so that students can at one time develop necessary personal and interpersonal skills for the course. But on the other hand, find the course interesting, not too burdening, so that they still can be motivated and inspired to join the course and try to survive the course with the lecturer. So I totally agree with Dr. Yao that as lecturers, we also have to survive the course, not just the students. And also, I agree that I myself as a lecturer learned something from my students as well during the online teaching activities. Some students whose information technology skills are excellent. They have very illustrative and amazing PowerPoint slides. And I have to ask them like, wow, how could you do that? How could you put those images and transitions into one slide like that? And they tells me things to how the way to make my PowerPoint slides more interesting, more illustrative, demonstrative, so that it would attract the attention of the students. And also this required joint effort. So as Ms. Dr. Yao just calls for cooperation between students and teacher. Students have to be more active, more dynamic. They have to be so that they can develop their self-autonomy in terms of their learning activities, because both students and teachers have to survive the course in one way or another, either for knowledge enrichment or skills enhancement, or just for passing the course with a satisfactory score. We have to be more adaptive, and adaptability, as Dr. Yao mentioned earlier, is one of the educational philosophy of the USLF and also of the FIS, the Faculty of International Studies. And through such activities as this webinar and the Model ASEAN Summit and other student activities which has been adjusted to be online via online platforms. We believe that students and lecturers and other stakeholders can join hands to make learning and teaching more interesting, accessible, reliable, and journey for all of us to do in the time of the pandemic. And our webinar has been going on for over 2 hours, and I believe that everyone, including our distinguished guest speakers, our lecturers, guests and students and staff, have something for their own, have learned something new, something intriguing, something amazing, something amusing for themselves. And I believe that the information and the experience shared by our guest speakers and lecturers from Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa as well, together with Ambassador Tôn Sinh Thành and Dr. Lê Thị Giao Chi, would be of great contribution for your journey to success in the future. And I hope that the remaining 1.5 days for the Model ASEAN Summit 2021 will be a valuable experience to you. Thank you for your time and effort joining our webinar and Model ASEAN Summit 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tôn Sinh Thành, Dr. Giao Chi, and Associate Professor Dr. Quỳnh Hoa and Ms. Phương Loan for your precious, insightful sharing about the theme today. And thank you, honorable guests, Ms. Hoài Hà, guest speakers, and all the participants for joining with us this morning. Due to several technical issues, Dr. Tôn Sinh Thành cannot stay with us until the end, but he did wish the best and success to all the participants at the Model ASEAN Summit. Once again, we would like to sincerely apologize for the technical problems. Ladies and gentlemen, before coming to the end of this morning's session, we would like to invite all the distinguished guests, guest speakers, delegates, participants to turn your camera on in order to take a group photo. Please turn your camera on, change the virtual background so that the technical team can take the screenshots of all the participants today. Great, keep smiling.
Just a sec, please.
Right, thank you very much. And then thank you again for joining with us this morning. Then goodbye for now and see you again this afternoon and tomorrow's closing ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our guests, and thank you, lecturers and staff. Thank you, everyone. See you this afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. And the battle commences.